But no, based off the stats on CCG, this is indeed the very first skyscraper that we saw that we've seen at the Charlotte Major. So what do you know? Other than that, you already said about the top performers right now, Paolo being third, DS Lucas being number 4. Overall, we know that Liquid is a powerhouse of a team. Every single player is so capable. Nesk, you said the old guard is slowly fading away, but Nesk is one of the old guards, one of the highest performing players of all time. He's like multiple records, number 1 in like leads of like KD, plus minus, injury, etc. He is really one of those legends that we have in Rainbow Six Siege, and he's still going really strong. It's very impressive.
I was going to talk about cost, by the way, as well, just to further cement what we're watching now. As we're actually in the match and the bans are happening in front of you. The 3 highest cost ratings right now, which stands for kills, objectives, survives, and trades. It's a measurement that's used to try and gauge how much you're contributing to a given round. Are you killing somebody? Are you playing the objective? Are you getting the diffuser down? Are you then disabling the diffuser? Are you surviving the round? Are you trading yourself out, whether you're getting a kill or not, or even trading out a teammate? The 3 highest costs at this event are all on Team Liquid. Resets, Palu, and Nesk are the top 3. It's pretty close. Shaiko is after that, and then Dash on Team 1 as well. But it just goes to show you that while Team Liquid tends to be a sensational team at the top, and we talk about them incessantly, there have been so many other storylines here that, forgive me, LATAM fans, it almost feels like Team Liquid have been a little bit slept on. Like they've kind of flown under the radar. That teams are like, yeah, we expect them to do well, but ooh, shiny thing, look at Astralis. Ooh, shiny thing, BDS is back. So that's been the chatter that I've witnessed. Either way, we'll get underway with the very first matchup of Group B for you and I. It's our 3rd matchup of the day on this stream. Team Liquid versus XSET.
10 seconds to
Already now we see Ask picking the Warden in case of a Ying. Look towards XSET. Yaga was on the Ying, but a tanker repicked off it to Iana. So both teams in the very get-go right now, reading one another to perfection. Liquid might be a Latin team, they might have really good gunners, really good aggressive gameplay, but you said at the cost, 3 highest rated players in that department. They also play the strategical side of this game oh so very well. And this first round on Office Exhibition, you see a castle and a mirror in combination, which means there are some strats in these pockets. We see these mirror windows in towards Dragon, really fortifying the bomb site itself, so that you can hold out those extended rooms on the exterior of the bomb site. Of course, the bandit being picked up by Palu because the mute has been target banned out by XSET. That means the bandit has to get active on the walls, and the first one will get opened right up by this thermite. It's a single wall outside on the balcony, and that's gonna ground the attackers 1 more entry point towards the bomb site itself, which there are very few of. A window and 2 breaches and a single door, that's all you have. So getting just 1 wall opened up is gonna give you so much more. So many more opportunities as well.
Office and Exhibition being the bomb site that we see these teams playing on right now. Very first defense for Team Liquid. Mira escapes the ban phase. Instead, it's a mute ban. Well, I feel like we have not seen a lot of mute bans here at the event at all, and that is obviously a stylistic choice. On a map like Skyscraper, if you look, there are lots of single doorways to enter on through. It's incumbent upon the attackers to open up more avenues. XSET has already done that, as you pointed out, and they get the very first pick on to Ask.
It is the Warden, of course. Not a huge deal because the Ying did get Tanker repicked off. The only smoke grenades here are on Kino on the thermite, as we can expect, so not a huge loss on the side of Liquid, but they still got 4 more people standing, of course. PSK has a C4, Bandit does not, so once these smoke grenades come flying, there are very few areas where Liquid can deal, or very few ways Liquid can deal with that themselves, so it will come down to the gunplay here instead.
Well, Liquid has to back up now as they've lost some of this crucial map control. Inside of Exhibition, resets watches through those jewelry cases.
Past.
Yaga by the samurai statue. Inside of Split, waiting to push out and watching lobby stairs. Spirits will walk up. That's good coverage. There's an open doorway towards Dragon that Spirits can see. Nothing to be had. Oh, is that a collateral from Yaga? A smoke goes in front of Spirits and Liquid falling by the wayside. A flawless round possible as a 3rd for Yaga comes onto the board. Paulo in drum, and he'll beat the drums of war. But what can he find? And when it will him into the bomb site, returning fire with the MP7, he can't accomplish anything. It's those 2 old players of OXG. Kino 2 kills, Yaga the 3 in the middle, and XSET pick up a flawless first round.
It's a great start for them, and honestly, I don't want to say it was lucky, so to speak, but Yogg really caught the timing there. He jumped in the window towards the bomb side when nobody was looking from Team Liquid. The moment they turned their face towards it, he had already crossed the halfway point. He got safe, and they had no idea he was in. And I do believe you're correct, Parker. I think he got a collateral. He shot towards one player and killed the person behind him instead of Dragon as well. Could have been a wallbang, could just be a straight-up collateral through a player, but either way, a great entry from him. And Kino found the opening pick earlier as well onto Ask, so it's pretty much a 4 versus 5 from the get-go. That means the collateral, the 2 kills, had such a huge impact because it only left 2 more players standing. One of those is Paolo on the row instead of Dragon, or instead of Drum rather, and that just means the bomb site is completely gone for the defenders. And we're gonna go to a different location because the first one did not work out, but all 4 bomb sites are playable. The mirror window being put on the opposite or opposite side this time, so from Dragon in towards the previous bomb site, whereas last time around it was in reverse. This mirror window, so the exact same one before, that's going to give you a line of sight towards that office soft wall to the outside balcony to limit the attacker's entry points. This does mean, of course, Geisha is a little bit vulnerable, but it's really hard to attack Geisha on this skyscraper map rework.
It's a bit odd to see Bandit get brought this commonly on maps. He's been firmly shoved out of the meta by both Mute and Kaid, but I mean, look at the operator bans. Both are banned. Let me finish.
I'm sorry. Maybe you didn't know.
Wait your turn.
Wait your turn.
I'm sorry. Do I not have eyes?
I'm gonna click the bell next time, or the button. You can tell me when it's my turn to
It's gonna be a long day, Nick, isn't it? Our last day of groups, and we might actually have a fight on broadcast. That'd be something to be seen. This was another change that flew under the radar. As DS sets down 2 Claymores, there was a small tweak to maybe buff Claymore as a secondary gadget, which gave the attackers a second bit of explosive ordnance. Yeah. So if you go to hop out that window from Dragon, guess what you see? You see 2 Claymores. You can shoot one, you can't shoot the other. Palu leads things off by gutting down Spirits. That's the Yana off the board. Yaga was on that role previously. No scouting that can be done with the Yana clones, and more importantly, the Gone 6 and the nades are gone. And given what's being brought here from Liquid, 2 deployable shields, mirror windows, you're going to want those explosives, especially from below on a bomb site like Karaoke T, to maybe blow up your opponents. There's one in the hands of Gomez, as I had just said that.
Not just that, but also you also have a Montan, which means that when you lose a gun early on, well, you're always going to be down 1 gun too, because Monty is like a 4 versus 5 in terms of the gunplay. You don't get to shoot back a whole lot, but you get all this map control and information game. So losing Spirits very early on the Iana is actually a massive loss. Now, it's pretty much down to Yogg and Gomez to try and make something happen here. Sure, you got 2 LMGs, make that a third if you count the Ying's gun as well, but utility-wise, these Candelas have to do a ton of damage because Gomez only has 1 nade remaining. That one goes out now. He finds a kill. That's a headshot on Nesk. Nade goes out, it whiffs, it does no damage.
Candela's going off as the Montaigne with the shield on his back goes for the plant. Kino looks to get it off. There's no real way to stop it at the moment. And just like that, Kino is back upright. The Mountain will sit over top of that diffuser. Resets goes for the run out, and one of those 2 Claymores set down earlier by Diaz claims the kill. Now it's Palu's turn. There's another there as well, but Diaz governs over the Claymore set down. Only 2 players left for Liquid. Spam pings coming in. Nitro Cell from PSK does not connect. Things looking very good for XSET as the diffuser hits the halfway point. And Liquid need to get themselves into the bomb site, but they're distracted by a Montaigne, and XSET is there to do cleanup work as the final 2 players from Liquid are removed from the round. 2-0 XSET.
I mean, Spirits fell early on that round, but outside of that single element, it was a flawless round again. Doesn't count, of course, because Spirits did die, but looking at it on paper, they didn't even need him. It was just Candelas going out, Monty tossed a smoke grenade, you turn your back towards the opponents, you start planting, post-plant is successful, the double Claymore, of course, guaranteed the kill on a jump out, and that just makes it so much easier. We can clearly tell already that XSET has been studying Skyscraper and preparing it for the major, because for a team who has not played this map ever since it got reworked, for a roster that was built for fresh for NAL Stage 1, we wouldn't expect this from them if it wasn't because that they really have put in the work. Liquid, of course, we are only 2 rounds in, start this 3rd round. There are still a lot of chances to turn the boat in the other direction. Skyscraper, I believe, last we saw it, it was defender-sided in most regions, but it really will come down to your knowledge about A, how to defend on it, and of course, in the opposite aspect, how to attack on it. So it will come down to each individual round and who gets to be the playmaking team, and so far, it's just been XSET both times around. They're keeping the most of the roster the same. They will change the Ying onto the Nomad, so this is probably going to be a roam clear across the map, you know, lock down the staircases with those air jabs. That's where the Nomad shines the most, at least.
I want to take you back to the state
Take it back.
Raleigh, North Carolina, 2019.
Oh, please don't take me back there.
Last time you played in front of a crowd. Anyway,
Okay.
there was a certain team that had never played a map. Let's call the map Clubhouse. Never.
Okay.
They'd never really played it before, right?
Okay.
And then there was a team that was really, 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 really good at Clubhouse. Let's call them Empire, okay? And we go to it map number 2 against a Brazilian team. Let's call them FaZe. And everybody's thinking, okay, this is the map van FaZe. FaZe lost map 1. This is a big problem. This is Empire's best map. FaZe doesn't play this map. And guess what the score was? FaZe 1-7-1. So all of a sudden, people start to say, wow, it's almost like they were saving strats. So it looks like that might be the case for XSET here. Skyscraper's a hard map to just pug. It's hard to just spawn in.
Very hard.
And with the lineups that XSET brought on those last 2 rounds, those are not, let's just throw things together and see what sticks. Their executes have been good. The way that they opened up the office wall, the way that they were able to get the diffuser in immediately on Kino with the Monty, those are complexities that don't come from a team that are not prepared.
I agree. I fully agree. Hiding and waiting for their opportunity. Also, you know, when the NAL season started, or any domestic season started, you don't have time to learn all 9 maps and introduce new players to the team, so waiting for the right opportunity is great, and the Charlotte Major is a fantastic place to show what your map pool really is like once you've put in the prep work. Paulo C4 goes out early to give him some line of sight vertically down below, try and stop XSET from progressing as they're going for this horizontal push so far, with Nesk there to support.
Spirits could have been easily taken out by this plays. The bomb site you look dead ahead on from Spirits is over in Master and in the bathroom. This is one of the most, I would say, the most impressively reworked part of the map. Paulo gets kill number 1 onto Gomez from a bomb. That was the opening that was created by the Nitro Cell. I'm actually a bit surprised by XSET not knowing that, because that was a lot of noise to open up that line of sight.
That it is, but sometimes it slips your mind and you might not hear it. Flashbang onto York himself and he jumps in. Not ideal, but he did make it in towards the bathroom area. Of course, PSK tossing out a Toxic Bait, trying to stall down this attack, but he's all alone right now. Great injure, that's going to buy Liquid some time.
He's inside of the bathroom, and Liquid are coming alive in these kills. How about a flawless round for Liquid? It's very on the board, as there's only 1 player left from XSET. Kino against his fellow countrymen. 6 bodies in the server, 5 of which are Liquids. Diffuser in the hands of Kino, but not a lot of time. So the round is very firmly not in his hands. No flawless round at all. PSK hero peaks when he really didn't need to. They could have just sat back and played crossfires, but Liquid getting especially confident. PSK is somebody who has been slept on a lot. Obviously, the 2 shining knights of Liquid are Nesk and Paulo, 2 of the greatest players to ever touch this game. Nesk has a championship all the way back in Atlantic City. Paulo does not. And I think a lot of people talk about, in order for Nesk and Paulo to be firmly cemented as 2 of the greats to ever play the game, they need more championships to their name. It's the one thing that's eluded this Liquid core. Because the Team Liquid that won Atlantic City all the way back in 2018, over 4 years ago, was a very different roster and was a very different game. This is a roster of Liquid that looks to have all the pieces set in place. Ask and Resets had a huge spotlight put on them when they joined this team, and expectations went through the roof. But the one guy, the hardest worker on the team in many ways, who does the thankless job, who's not flashy, but he keeps the team together, is PSK. And I honestly think that he needs more praise than he gets from the general audience. After that round, and PSK gets the final kill for the Flawless, and Liquid, XSET immediately burns a tactical timeout.
Yeah, taking it early right now to get things under control and get back into the game, because they, you know, this round kind of eluded them. They had the lead so far 2-0, now it's 2-1. They want to make sure they keep up the momentum on their attack inside, because on the attack is where things can really get spicy and you kind of get to control the pace. So you want to get as many rounds as possible and make Liquid really fight every single round to try and, you know, keep back the pressure. Also, I believe there was a time, Parker, correct me if I'm wrong, where PSK was benched momentarily from Liquid. Not kicked off the roster or anything, but just like put on the bench. And they got someone else in, but then PSK returned not too long after and has been there since. I had to go back and dig for confirmation, but I believe that happened. I remember I swapped jersey with PSK back in the day, and he said, like, he was the one playing well, and he told me, Pingu, you're the good player. Like, he's so humble. Like, Liquid, the entire core that we've seen the entire time throughout, have always been a championship level team, but they've always been praising other players and other teams, not even just from LATAM, but from other regions, saying, no, you guys are the champions. And I will say, that is a trait that's always nice to see. Like, when Liquid wins something, when they finally do, nobody will be mad at them, everybody will cheer for them because they are very nice players. So
Liquid have gone through phases, Nick, where they were seen as not the villains, but were definitely a team for you to root against because they were so dominant. But it's hard to dislike this roster. There's just so many nice players on it in terms of how gracious they are in defeat, as you point out. You're hard-pressed to find two nicer guys in all of Rainbow Six, in both Palu and PSK. They bend over backwards to speak well of not just their opponents, but just about everybody else in the scene. And of course, you've got Nest, the unstoppable killing machine. This is round number 4, and it's back to Karaoke and T. Don't expect a lot of barbecue kitchen defenses. It's the one bomb site that seems to be out of favor at the moment, and even though Liquid is holding this part of the map, it's under the actual bomb site. They're going to prevent any of those depth charges, as we call it, which are the grenades from below, and also keep control of a very critical part of the map.
They are an early pod. There we go. Diaz, LMG kill onto resets. That's going to be Lucia off the board. And Palu still stuck down below with no way out, really, and limited support now from his teammates of Liquid. Nesk is trying to hold down this small area of the map, but he has such little HP left to his name. That means that it's going to be very dire for him to do much damage at all.
Monty Strat on the board again, as it was so successful last time. XSET broke into the bomb site. They got an early pick against them, then traded it back and managed to get the diffuser down and boxed out Liquid. Palu will come face-to-face with the Montaigne, and it's a follow-up from Spirits. Good teamwork there from the team, and Spirits with 2. PSK and Palu gone, evaporated. There's one of those depth charges, as we talked about. It doesn't look like it does much damage at all. Nesk on just a fraction of HP, and he'll see the Monty advancing to smoke him out as best as he can, and maybe look for a pick from above. That's Ask on Brown Stairs. Now he heads over to the doorway, and it's a long-range shotgun. You have to believe in those pellets, and boy, does he ever. Down goes Diaz. 40 seconds left in the round. XSET still with a mighty big lead, and the Montaigne still upright.
Unbelievable. My sugar doesn't work that way, I swear. When I'm the one in control, but Ask, he makes different work out of it. The Banshee in the door, Toxic Babe goes out, that's the final one. That means now Kino on the Monty gets to really get enabled because nobody can now stop him, as no Toxic Babes are left.
It's a good bait out here as a grenade gets primed and ready and almost kills Kino in the process. Disco Light Show goes out as the Candelas blind Ask, and then the gun finishes him off, leaving Nesk with a tiny bit of HP. That's it. He's going to be flashed out of his mind, lying prone in the middle of Karaoke, or in the middle of T, and Spirits finishes him off as the aggression from XSET went towards Karaoke. Another clean execute from XSET on this bomb site. They got tripped up on Bedroom down below, but Liquid can only go back to it one more time. The tactical timeout from XSET works, and they regain the lead at 2 rounds. It's 3-1.
They're still going, by the way.
Bodega does not stop.
He does not stop. And I want to talk a little about Kino and Spirits here because if you look at the XSET roster, who's going to play Monty, realistically speaking, right? Kino is not your typical support player who sits back and holds angles, is, you know, droning and whatnot that much. But Kino is playing a really good Monty right now, not overextending as I feared he would. He's always playing smart around his teammate. They found 2 kills around Kino alone. The first one downstairs in kitchen area. That was, of course, where Spirits came from stock, shot Paolo in the back, got the second kill in the hatch, and then again, Kino walks up the back stairs, forces out the toxic canisters, and waits his turn. Once Ask runs out, that's when he aggresses up. And honestly, Spirits having a much better game this time around against Liquid than he did on Villa in the previous, and that's what we want to see out from XSET. When Spirits is activated, when your IGL, as Spirits is for this roster, on the board, that's when he's gonna be the strongest. It's always the case for entry-based IGLs. LM and BDS, Merc on TSM, Spirits and XSET. When you're in the fray, getting kills and things are going well for you, you're gonna be calling around yourself saying, I need a nade over here, need a drone at my feet, we're gonna walk up the staircase, I need Monty right now. And when that is happening, that is when the team is the strongest. So Liquid, they really have a tall task ahead of them. 3-1 scoreline, anything is possible, and Liquid are formidable in both their attacks and their defenses. So not a team that is heavily favored on one side for the individual performances. They can play both aspects, but of course, so can XSET. When XSET originally got made with this roster in the stage 1 of NAL, a lot of people, myself included, were questioning their attacking capabilities because they don't have that old guard IGL strategy or structure. But they are showing us right now that they got this strat. So Bodega, I want to congratulate you for making a great thing going for this roster in such a short time span as well.
How much can you throw on the shoulders of Bodega? Because there is quite a large coaching staff behind XSET. It's not just Bodega on his own. So as much as you might want to give him some credit, you have to acknowledge everybody else on that team. Of course, the original coach they had was Drew Spark, who helped them out an awful lot. They've also got Vivas helping as an assistant coach. So, and P. Fernandez, I believe, is the in-game name. That also works as an analyst. And Drew is still with the team as well. As far as I'm aware, I think he moved to a more general role in XSET.
I believe so.
But he still helps out. Very similar to how Joe Bro does it in the North American League, as he helps with the Sonics, but is also doing more for the rest of the org, including their other esports teams, like on Rocket League and PUBG, for example. So you've got a lot of cooks in the kitchen here, and it doesn't seem to be too many to ruin the soup just yet. It's obviously helping XSET. They look very well prepared. They had a stumble on that bedroom take, but there's a lot on the line here for both of these teams. Let's go back to the fact, next round, how Skyscraper hasn't been played, but before we get there, there's 1 minute left. Nice nitro cell from Ask will start the killing. Pushed out of his position by a Rotero drone. Gomez with 1, and Ask takes matters into his own hands. A second kill for him. Team Liquid still on top with 45 seconds left.
And this breach is kind of scuffed because it's just a line of sight. There's no entry point for XSET, and there's no other harbors to follow it up. This now gives Liquid a massive advantage because, yes, you can chuck in a grenade, but that's all you can do, but maybe it's all you need because that finds the likes of Ask behind the desk.
All you can do is chuck in a grenade, and it does, and it gets a kill.
Chuck, chuck.
It's almost like you know what you're talking about. Limited windows into the bomb site. Resets is still there. Gun down as Liquid takes out 2, leaving Yaga as the last man standing to secure a kill. With 15 seconds left, find the last 2 players from Liquid. Both Palu and Nesk are the 2 to find. This is so tough to do. You find yourself in a 1v2 versus Palu and Nesk, you're gonna have a bad time. And guess what? Yaga has a bad time. Liquid wins the round, but then they call their timeout too. Both timeouts from these teams burned within the first 5 rounds. A bit surprising to see. That's a brisk pace, but there's obviously deficiencies that both of the coaches see that they want to fix. For Liquid, this is good, because as Hugzord talks to the team, you've got 1 more round for Team Liquid on defense, and then they go on attack. So this timeout is not just for this final round for Liquid to try and tie it up, but also for the future. And what happens when you go on to attack?
I certainly agree, and I also certainly think that Liquid's coach, Hugzord, might have seen something in the game that they might not have expected. Now they get a chance to talk about it and kind of try and get this final round tied up 3-3 on the half. This is very rare that we see both teams use the timeouts in the first 5 rounds, but even more so is that Liquid called the timeout after winning a round. That is even more rare because normally you're gonna use it to shut down the enemy's momentum, keep up your own, but Liquid recognize that right now is a perfect, or possibly the perfect time to take it themselves. Master Bedroom is where they will send us for this final defensive rounds for their side, but first, of course, the replays on your screen. Spirit's trying to get the entry, gets shut down. Yogg follows up, but it's Nesk ultimately on the dragon statue that ends up finding the round for Liquid. And now we are in Master Bedroom, and of course, Palu on the Bandit being played almost each and every single round. He was on Valkyrie for 1 moment, but this is again due to that Mute and Kaid ban. The only wall deny operator left in this entire match is the Bandit, so he's getting a lot of inflation in his play rate right now on Skyscraper, that's for sure. The castle being brought out again to help limit lines of sight and create safe areas, something that actually was an issue for Team Liquid in their first defensive round, because XSET, they could walk past a lot of those barricades with cover and therefore get close toward the bomb site and therefore execute in a swift moment.
I like that you touched upon that Bandit, but again, it goes back to the operator bans. No Mute, no Kaid. If you want to keep the walls closed, what are you going to do? right? I suppose you could keep the walls unprotected and then run an Rooney and maybe put the laser gates up there. That's not going to stop your opponents from opening them, but then some gadgetry will need to be used to break the laser gates, lest you take some damage in the process, and then 30 seconds later, the laser gates can be reactivated. It's not exactly the same strategy, but we do see teams use it in a pinch if there's no denial to at least slow down the attackers. In this case, Bandit's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, Liquid did use the mirror for 2 rounds in a similar fashion where the wall was soft, the exterior balcony, but then they had a mirror window on the wall inside the bomb site that could like deny any entry point. So there are a couple ways to play around it. I think the castle is a similar case, but Ness gets banged through the door.
No.
Unfortunate Spirits as well finding Paulus. The double duo here, the god duo, if you will, from Liquid are taken out early in the round, leaving PSK and the new guns try and claw it back now in this 3 versus 5. Reset's looking to get aggressive on the offense, looking for that drone while Ask is hiding behind this this stuck area.
The living legends of Liquid, if you want to call it that, as I alliterate here. This was the bomb site that tripped up XSET last time around, and where Liquid got a flawless to get themselves on the board. This time, things looking very different for XSET. Entry, perfect. Pick out 2 of the best players on Liquid. Maybe not statistically the best players, but Liquid scores right now very even. As for the rest of this Brazilian team, they just need to sit back and wait. Half of the round is expired. They're getting droned out. Utility will start to be thrown their way in a matter of moments, but they have a big advantage. Right now, the focus for XSET is upstairs. They need to translate that to the main floor. Any hatch drops that come in will be met with aggression from Liquid. There's a body that isn't seen, and a nice play by Resets. He could potentially even things out into a 3v3 as there's another player from XSET hiding inside a pantry, and he goes down. Resets, a huge play to keep Liquid in this. Here's the drop from XSET. The execute coming out a little bit quicker than we thought. Some of the wall being shot open. Spirits is there, prepared and ready for Ask to try to get back into the bomb site. Resets was far removed. This is going to be quite a journey for him to get in and link up with PSK. Selma will take away some of PSK's safe harbor inside a bedroom, but he's got an angle to play off of, and he's looking to greet the XSET players. On to Kino, softening him up. Good enough for one, but a trade will not work. You need to do more than that. Reset's already got 2 big kills. How many more can you get? Can you save the round for your team playing off of that small opening? Diffuser being planted by Finka. You have to get in to shut this down, but Spirits will have no problem, and suddenly you find yourself in the post point. Liquid want to tie this up, but they're not going to do it. Diaz puts an exclamation mark on the first half, and XSET takes it 4-2 while the team switch sides.
And this now means, as you mentioned, there is no longer a tactical timeout available for either team, which means if anything bad now happens with Liquid's first opening attacking round, they're not going to get any extra time with their coach to discuss what the next step will be. So let's keep it on that, see what their approach is. We saw XSET use some Ying, some Munti, that had a couple of different iterations of how they wanted to approach the attacking side. And in this final round, it was none of those. Just pure old OG operator lineup, get good weapons, get good gadgetry, limited vertical play from them. They could have done a lot more, but they didn't need it. The moment they got caught off guard, they dropped the side hatch and they played off pace, catching Liquid off guard, finding that opening on the bomb site itself, making that a 2 versus 3, and they played the man advantage beautifully after that fact. Now we see Karaoke T, first bomb site choice from XSET, and they don't have any of those flashy defender operators. Like the mirror, sure, you can put down some mirror windows somewhere, but there's no castle. They will play the bandit as well because they have to, again, with the operator lineup that is currently banned out. That is expected outcome, of course. Liquid not using attacker repick just yet means they either have the perfect lineup that they would like to have, or they simply haven't seen the structural situation of the bomb site as it's being set up by the XSET roster. Paolo gonna have a good time on this Sophia LMG, and so will Nesk hopefully as well on the Finga LMG. The 2 most lethal weapons of Rainbow Six Siege and attack inside right now that every single Inter player would prefer to have at their arsenal, at their disposal, if possible.
Well, I mean, more bullets equals better. That's just basic arithmetic, Nick. So if you've got access to the LMGs, take them and run with it. Look at what you have on the defensive side. If Kino's got the SMG in hand, you don't have a ton of bullets. Diaz is going to burn through that magazine on the Vector really fast, and guess what? You're going to be suppressed by 100+ bullets.
It's true, and I mean, as SMG11 players, you know that Kino himself has made a tweet recently saying it is really hard to fight against 100+ bullets at 17, but if you have really good aim and accuracy, all you need is a single bullet that can make a difference. Extra thermal charge comes out. This need to clear out the Bandit battery, or maybe even get a kill. Yes, a kill indeed. Good timing there. Ask put on the thermal charge to bait out the position, picked it back up, then put it down because the nade wasn't ready. So really good communication between Ask and Nest to time it. So if Bandit tried to challenge, it would net them a reward.
Karaoke and T defense right now for XSET. This bomb site played twice by Liquid when they were on defense, and it broke in favor of the attackers both times. If you're Liquid, you were hoping that nothing changes with that streak. It was an attacker-favored first half as XSET walked away 4-2. They got 3 opening picks to Liquid's 3, and the diffuser went down as well for XSET. So objective play not as particularly crucial for them, but still a success nonetheless on those rounds. Timeouts taken for both teams too. That's the tale of the first half. And speaking of halves, we are past the halfway point here in round number 7. That only pick, as you talked about, was on to Spirits, who's having a significantly better game than we saw out of the first game yesterday when he went 1-12. This is much more closely aligned to Spirits on Bank in that very final matchup that XSET played yesterday.
Yeah. 1 minute to go. Liquid, they haven't made much work off the map just yet, and they don't have the Monty or the Ying like XSET did. That means this next step, the halfway cut of the map, is that hard wall that we just saw on Dragon Drum. That's going to be the biggest challenge for Liquid to push through, because they'll need to use their flashbangs and a little bit of utility that they have to get past the barrier and gain their access point. And right now, Nesk trying to work Geisha as well.
This is go time for the team. First Adrenal Surge to go off to remain. Nesk is inside of Geisha. He's got a line of sight into the back of Karaoke, and his gun barrel finds Yaga. XSET will be along for this Liquid ride. There's a lot of firepower to come. Can you outduel them? Nesk knows through the soft wall as Diaz fires away, but cannot connect with the shots. Nesk's still there, outdueled by the DMR of Gomez, and down he goes. 1 kill for XSET. Still 10 seconds left in the round, but XSET falling by the wayside. Liquid's guns hitting their marks. Down goes Kino. It's Gomez in a 1v. Who cares? They lose. Team Liquid bulldoze the bomb site in 10 seconds flat. They pick up their very first round on attack, and they've narrowed the gap between the teams.
I always say I was a bit worried there for Liquid because Nesk got that early entry onto the Geisha side. Now, there wasn't really any follow-up for a while, but maybe that wasn't even the plan. Nesk brought so much attention towards his area of the map that allowed Liquid to walk up the staircases and walk on in. And sure, Nesk fell early, but then you get 3 kills in return moments after. And that's going to give Liquid the round. 4-3 now as we get closer and closer. And yes, it very much looks like an attacker-favored Skyscraper. Something that we don't see very often, but both teams are showing that they can bring it. Of course, that early grenade kill onto Spirits as he was trying to penetrate the outside wall really made a huge impact because they gave them the advantage of the man advantage rather, in that 4 versus 5 situation. And now we see Liquid really utilizing the attacker repick, going through all 5 operators, changing out the entire roster for what they want to have so that they can prepare themselves for this setup. The Thermite and the Hibana double hard breach if you need, in case one dies early or you just want to open up a ton of different walls, and of course keeping most other things the same. The Twitch here, important to note, that's gonna try and be how you can leverage out the gadget deny. For example, the Bandit batteries, the ADSs, the mirror windows. Twitch is a phenomenal pick in this situation. Spirits, cheeky spawn pick, a little bit of a run out. Softball here could get reinforced off later on. There is a spare top left of your screen that could be used if they need to, but the mirror window on the bar wall to his right signifies that, well, even if you do reinforce it and the softball on his right is still there, you do have the mirror window that can deny it if it gets opened up.
I'm still waiting for that very first defense of barbecue downstairs. I don't know if we're going to see it or not. Not yet. I talked in the pre-show that, you know, that you can see all 4 bomb sites here, even though I don't think you and I have personally seen a kitchen and Karaoke defense down below, but we'll see. This bomb site worked well for the defense one time around. Team Liquid's only 2 wins on defense came on the bedroom, where it was a flawless round for Liquid, and then once on the second attempt at office. So a 50-50 split on this bomb site, as it was won by XSET flawlessly themselves back in round number 1. The streak continued for Karaoke. It's 3-0 on the attacker side of things. And this is the ebb and flow of Skyscraper. It's a map where, because it's not fully fleshed out yet, there's a lot of ways to play it for these teams. You can see from the lineup from both squads that there's lots of flexibility in what operators you bring. The only real consistence that we've seen The only real consistency we've seen is on that Bandit, as you talked about before, which is a necessity. Yaga, with that MPX in hand on Warden, plays around the shield. Down goes Nesk. The Sledge won't be able to do too much. Nesk, awfully quiet in this matchup. The good news is he's got a strong supporting cast that's helping with this team.
Yes, Nesk first fall 3 out of 8 rounds so far with the side of Liquid. And again, you Warden here from Yogg is in a great position with the Barbell Shield, but under a lot of pressure. Window behind him open up, Flashbang comes out, grenade follows, but it wasn't cooked. That means that Yogg gets out safely. But they do gain the position that Yogg was previously in because his shield is now gone.
And if somebody been at that Dragon window, they could have very easily caught Yaga when the grenade went out to move him off of the position. Spirits, Gun Down and Drum, both resets as well as Ask were in that position. And they've now got control of one of the peripheries moving into the bomb site. The teams trade out back and forth as Kino and Paula are no more and continuing this trend of back and forth, but the trades are going to benefit XSET because they have the advantage in numbers. Smokes go off. Liquid look to push in. They've still got 2 more smokes available, and they've got an F2 in the hands of resets. That thing chews through you like a hot knife through butter. Gomez is on a tiny bit of HP. A single bullet tickles him, and he's as good as dead. This is eminently winnable for XSET, and there you go. You don't need much when PSK snaps onto you and you're prone on the ground. Vector might not be the weapon that you want, but Diaz is in a good position. Again, reminder, he's the 4th highest rated player right now at this event. And he's getting spam marks. He knows there's one, a clean snap, and he gets both. A tremendous clutch from Diaz enabled by those pings, and his teammates give him 2 easy, clean kills. The gap between Team Liquid and XSET closed, but XSET stretches it back again as they march towards a victory that they desperately need if they want to make it out of the groups.
It's an important position for Liquid to get up the momentum and try and keep the spirits high, because those rounds, well, when they slip away, it really pains you. And you might be wondering right now, why didn't Liquid just plant? But the thing is, on the bomb side of this exhibition that we just saw, there isn't a lot of safe space, and Diaz had a C4 in his pocket. The red pings were coming out. They were fearing a C4 or a wall bang, so they had to clear out the position. And Liquid, they played it quite well. They had 2 different players come from 2 different directions, but because Diaz had pixel perfect accurate information, he could make the right decision and take out the 1 versus 1 positioning. If those Valkyrie cameras, or the information rather, wasn't available to Diaz, I think Liquid would have run away with that round, but because they had the info, well, Liquid, with half a second too late in the peak, they get punished. 5-3 as XSET is slowly building a lead, and also winning their first defensive round was in the office bomb site. Takes us back to this Party T location where previously Liquid were the victors. Remember, that's when Spirits fell early on in the round, making that 4 versus 5. And Liquid, they're really running down the clock on every single attack so far, going a little bit too slowly.
Shield going out.
Beep boop. Shield down.
It's a bit of a calm pause right now. Nothing really happening, no setup being done. Teams playing their games. Both timeouts burned. That's one thing to keep an eye on as well. I wanted to touch on this a couple rounds ago, but we didn't really have time now. There is a bit of calm before the storm. I bet you anything that if XSET made the deliberate decision to go to Skyscraper, that because they haven't played it yet, they would have loved to have maybe concealed that pick to the playoffs.
Certainly.
But the problem is that XSET doesn't have that luxury because they are not guaranteed a spot. And if they don't pull out all the stops, there's a very high likelihood that Liquid wins this map, secures their spot in the playoffs, and then FURIA, who are going to be playing twice more today, could very easily then also make it. FURIA and Liquid play each other next. And if Liquid have already qualified for the playoffs because they beat XSET, Team Liquid could decide, maybe we don't really want to go all out, maybe we want to save some things, and FURIA has an excellent opportunity to make a map, to make those 3 points happen against Liquid.
You're right.
And then what ends up happening in your later match? Well, later today, FURIA has a rematch against KAG, and they absolutely crushed the Japanese team yesterday. So you need to go all out of your XSET.
You do, and I think it is important to notice that when you aren't, secured for playoffs, you need to fight as if you aren't, which means everything comes out because you don't want to save something, then miss the playoffs. And it's like, well, what do we save it for? Next stage of NAL? That's not right.
You can't leave anything on the table, right?
No, you cannot.
XSET could turn around and be like, well, we really probably should have pulled out Skyscraper during the groups
no
to
regrets.
see. Exactly. And yeah, of course, like I said, you want to try to conceal it until it matters more. But if you're XSET, what matters more right now is simply making the playoffs. 3 North American teams have done that. I think it's a bit embarrassing for some of these teams. If you end up being the only NA team not to do that, that's just another thing that occupies your brain. This has been a very slow round, but the sound of the starting bell, it goes off. Adrenal Surge out, tops up all of Liquid. Yaga on this very inventive mirror strategy, right now playing on main stairs. He's got a good line of sight to that geisha window. If somebody hops in, he'll be there. But oh my goodness, look at this. Exploiting a weakness, exploiting a hole in the defense. It's Ask, it's a bit sloppy, but he takes down Yaga. Suddenly Geisha's wide open. Liquid can sweep on in. A flash goes out as well, and a smoke too, for good measure. Out goes the mirror window, and Diaz is flashed. Spirits is down for the count. Liquid cleaning up on the scoreboard. Kino gets in on the action, though. He loses a lot of HP.
Oh.
Nesk is down in the smoke. There's no secure. Palu gets picked up by an Adrenal Surge. Resets a kill of his own. It's a total mess as Liquid now struggling, but they get the diffuser in the hands of Resets. And Diaz again! 2 huge kills, and XSET moved to match point.
Diaz, the saving grace of XSET again. In the previous matchup of FURIA, also a Latin team on Bank, it was Diaz time and time again, finding kills out of nowhere and putting XSET on the map. He does it one more time. That is match point now. If you're XSET and well Liquid, you need to now fight tooth and nail just to go to OT to then have a chance to win. But this also means XSET are guaranteed at least 1 point, even if they were to lose, if it went to overtime. 3 points if they win in regulation. We see Bodega. What do they call Bodega? Is it Boo Boo? Babu? They have like a name for
I
him.
don't know what they call him.
You don't, it is, okay, it's Boo Boo. Okay, I was correct. So Boo Boo right there, bouncing behind the players of XSET. I'm not exactly sure what the history is behind the name. I feel like I've read it online, but anyway, I think it's quite cute. We're gonna go, Parker, would you look at this? We are actually gonna see all 4 bomb sites.
It's happening. Insert that, what is it? It's the Ron Paul gif where he's waving his hands and he's like, it's happening.
It's happening.
Look, I don't care what your politics are. I don't care if you like Ron Paul. It's a good gif, okay? Get over yourselves.
Yeah, gifs are a neutral manner. You cannot get mad about politics or anything else.
We do not care about platforming.
Nope.
It's a gif. It's a meme. It's not pronounced GIF. That's a peanut butter. Don't be lunatics. Anyway.
It is a G in GIF, so I'm on your side.
I mean, I feel like that's at the time when the creator of the GIF was like, actually, I pronounce it GIF. And at that point, it's like, you've lost control of your monster. Nobody cares what you think. We've all decided that it is GIF. That's it. It's like gift, but without the T. And right now, the gift for North America is a win here for XSET. They have secured themselves a single point. The only way that Team Liquid can win is if they take the next 3 rounds and then finish off XSET in overtime. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, surely that comeback is not going to happen. But Liquid was in similar circumstances yesterday, not quite as dire. When I'd like to remind you, XSET was up 4-0 and Liquid went on to win 7-5. So if there's any team that's going to be able to dig deep and find that little bit extra effort, it's them. And Spirits runs out and add insult to injury for Team Liquid. They lose resets. The Finca is gone. The conductor of your orchestra completely removed. Now it's Nesk down, and guess what? You could get him up if you had an Adrenal Surge, but you don't, because Resets is dead. Can you secure Nesk? Get him back into the fray, because if there's a player with even a tiny bit of HP that can clobber your team, it's Nesk. But Liquid know that this is just a tricky spot to be in. Half of the round to go, and this is a big advantage for XSET.
Not just is the health low, but the time as well. Liquid playing a very slow game, but Spirits from XSET making it a bit easier for them, swinging aggressively into their face. A bit unnecessary, you can say, because when you have the lead, when you have the advantage, when time is in your favor, you can just fall back, play down the clock. Liquid, they've been so slow throughout Skyscraper so far.
Oh, and there's another pick from Liquid. Suddenly, the round is in their favor, and a third follows. Yeah, they might have sacrificed resets, but Blood for the Blood God leaves Kino in a 1v4. Liquid understand this. Nesk is back up. Kino, not exactly having the best game statistically in comparison to games in the first 2 days of groups, but he can try to make something work. Reascends the stairs, doesn't want to stray too far from the bomb site, drops again into kitchen. Hatches to watch, walls to watch, doors to watch, and over towards the bar, it's Palu. A shot, and I'm not talking about the drink. Gives Liquid the round. They're still in this. They've got 2 more rounds to be won if they want to send us to overtime.
Well, I think that round right there is a message, right? The way that the early stage of the round went, you're thinking it's done, over, XSET takes it, it's done. But no, Liquid is a team that can find themselves in the worst of positions and still find somewhere in the map to call it back. We do see here those spirits did help them out, made it a little bit easier. The aggressive swings from XSET, I don't want to say lack of discipline because it's a stylistic choice of theirs to catch their enemies off guard, and it has worked more often than not against Liquid, but that single time around, it did end up costing them their man lead. So XSET, well, they tried it out, they showed us all 4 bonus sides, they've shown they can do it, they just haven't shown us that they can win it. But that means we're going to go back to the office area, we are going to see the mirror once again, we are going to see the Warden, and you might be thinking, why do they keep picking Warden when they isn't bringing out the Ying? It's more of like a, if you bring the Warden, there's no point for Team Liquid to take the Ying or anything like that. So if you fear the possibility of it, or if you're respecting it rather, well, that's what you do with the Warden. That's going to certify that if they do bring the Operator, you're prepared for it, and if not, you still get the MPX 1.5x, you still get a deployable shield, and of course your gadget on Yogg on the Warden will still work against the smoke grenades and the flashbangs, as we saw in the past.
Warden's a very strong operator here, Nick, and it was an operator that Yaga used to get that early pick onto Nesk, if you remember the last time these teams tussled on this bomb site.
He did. He was on that dragon position behind the deployable shield, made great work.
I am honestly surprised, and I've said this time and time again, that we don't see Warden more in ranked. He's got an MPX with virtually 0 recoil. He's got a good sight on it. You've got a secondary SMG-12. If you want to place close angles, you've also got the SAS shotgun, which is one of the best shotguns in the game. There's so much here for Warden. Plus, you can play selfishly. You don't have to worry about the Ying Candles. You don't have to worry about the smokes, and you got a deployable shield. He's a strong operator in ranked. And there's a part of me that is glad you don't see him more, because if you want to play one of those annoying operators, he's a hard counter to you. But I don't understand why the ranked masses have not adopted Warden. It's a minute into this round, by the way. XSET still looking for the knockout blow here on Team Liquid, as it's another office and initiation bomb site. Or exhibition, sorry.
You should start a movement. You be the enabler for it. You
I'm
start
okay.
it.
I don't need to do that. I don't, because the last time that somebody was like, why don't we play more Finka in ranked? And now she's damn near everywhere. So
Good point.
I don't need that.
Yogg in the same position as before. Last time he had great success, forced out flashbangs, grenades, and even got a kill. Of course, Nesk and the rest of Liquid are now prepared for this because they have seen this exact situation play out. Oh my god.
History repeats itself, by the way. Same position, same operator, same players. Yaga takes out Nesk from behind that shield. Liquid in trouble again, but that didn't matter last round. They surrendered the first pick and still ended up prevailing without losing another body. Can they repeat that success?
It's a nice use of the Ibanez Kairos to open up a line of sight that you can safely ADS clear from the nade. However, it goes out. Shield gone, but Spirits, he slashes out once more.
Drum control so important right now, and, well, it's in XSET's hands. No position on Terrace either, as Resets edges across the doorway, top of main stairs.
Oh, it was a crossfire.
There's 2 of them established. You're going to need to fight for both of them if you're the bandit, but Resets looks in the wrong direction. Nicely played, looks in the right one at the right moment, and Spirits goes down. He was a sitting duck. At least 45 seconds left. Liquid keeping this close. Now Yaga's down for the count as well. Askin on that. Both Ask and Resets eating up this map control together. And boy, oh boy, are they hungry. Smoke will go out to obscure a line of sight to give more terrace control in favor of Liquid. It's a 3v3, but the time obviously favors the defenders. XSET will ride out the final moments of this round, looking for a critical win in regulation that will give them 3 big points and vault them into position to make it out of the group. Gomez lined up. Diaz was the hero of this round last time. Resets gunned down. Both teams trading blows, but Ask breaks into the bomb site. It's Kino to clutch. It's a 1v1 with 7 seconds left. Close angles. Diffuser at the halfway point. The time will not work in his favor, and now Kino needs to take matters into his own hands. He sees the head for but a second, but this will be a tough gunfight. Playing around the doorway. Shotgun out now to close the gap. Gets ever closer. Kino. Damage done to Ask, and he gets the down as well. Clutch moments for XSET will define the match, and a little bit of disrespect to his fellow countrymen. A double for Kino, and XSET collect all 3 points.
And in both matchups, it's Kino against Liquid showing up in big fashion. You said earlier, bit quiet of a performance from him, but he closed it out loud. whipped out the shotgun as Kino does best, found the 1 versus 1, gets the defuse and puts 7 rounds to XSET's name. Skyscraper, they are the victors. The first time XSET's roster has played this map in an official game. It's at the major in groups against Team Liquid, and they win.
7-4 over Team Liquid, a team that wants to make it out of the groups and still is a great shot of doing that. But if Liquid want to guarantee their spot on that main stage on Friday, they're going to have to beat other Brazilians. They couldn't do the half Brazilian squad from North America. They have to do the full Brazilian squad of FURIA next. XSET have just given themselves a huge helping hand. They have to beat Cyclops coming up soon. We got more matches for you, and we know there's a lot on the line and you want to get to it. So we're going to toss to a quick break, and then we'll be back.